It's interesting. As I'm listening to the conversation, Peter Stephan, Tax Resolution Institute. Of course, Jim Felton is here from Greenberg and Bass. Is it likely that sometimes that there's somebody out there, a small business owner here on the Morning Answer, when we do the morning show, we talk to so many small and medium-sized business owners. Is it common that for someone their only liability, their only the only money they owe is taxes? Because it would seem to me that if you're delinquent when it comes to taxes, you have whatever it is, $100,000 in back taxes, that type of that's leaking into other areas of your life. That there are other bills that are not paid. You understand what I'm saying? Is it common that someone comes and says, "Look, the only liability I have is a tax liability. It's the only person I owe money. The only entity to whom I owe money is the IRS or the Franchise Tax Board, or is it always a million other creditors?"
It varies. Although recently I had that situation where I was representing an attorney, a successful attorney, who stopped paying taxes, was pretty much current on everything else.
He stopped paying because he couldn't, or because he...
Because one year he couldn't, and then the second year he decided not to, and then the third year he started thinking that taxes are really just a bad thing, and the government should just not be taking... So
he got philosophical.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. So 4 years down the road and $1 million of taxes owing, he realized he had a problem because the government said no more. What was interesting about his particular case is he made probably close to $400,000 a year. So it wasn't that he couldn't afford the taxes, he just didn't want to. That's a rare case, frankly. Most people, I think, are like what you described, which is that they have other issues. So the case I described is probably more of a unique situation, but it happens.
Jim Felton is here from Greenberg and Bass. Of course, Peter Stephan from the Tax Resolution Institute. This is the Tax Show. I'm Brian Whitman from the Morning Answer.
Brian, in that same vein, I'd like to remind people that, and this is a bit unknown, if you make the top 100 list of people who owe the Franchise Tax Board,
there's a top 100? It's like the Billboard charts?
There is. In fact,
I'm not on that list, am I, Peter?
No, you're not.
Have you checked the list?
No, you're not. But many of our clients are.
Okay, all right, fine.
You're 114. So
I'm 114. I'm striving for the top 100. I want to be on that list. I'm kidding, of course.
Well, in fact, people come to us and the problem with being on that list.
You got any top teners over there?
In fact, we have two. We have two on the top 10.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
But the problem with being on that list is that if you're a doctor, they will not renew your medical license. If you have a driver's license, you won't get that renewed either.
Is that fair? That strikes me as unfair.
Well, if you resolve the problem either through an offer or an offer in compromise, or even an installment agreement, you'll get taken off the list. Now, they won't take the lien away, but they will take you off that top, sort of the top 10 there.
Right. You'll fall back into obscurity where you'd like to be.
Exactly. And we get calls all the time from professionals who ended up on that list where they're going to yank their real estate license, they're going to yank their medical license, and then
they've taken your livelihood from you at that point.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Peter Stephan of the Tax Resolution Institute, I want to give the website, taxresolutioninstitute.com, taxresolutioninstitute.com, or call them at 800-658-7590, 800-658-7590. Jim Felton, of course, is here from Greenberg and Bass. Peter, something I learned when I first came in contact with the Tax Resolution Institute, I like to remind people I do this show because I am a client of the Tax Resolution Institute, and Peter Stephan and his team resolved for me unresolved tax issues and really brought me some serenity and some peace to my life that really, quite candidly, and this is not hyperbole, I didn't have before. What I learned is that if you get a letter from the Franchise Tax Board or from the IRS, as you indicated, they want you to take action. You said if you address the matter, for example, with the top 100, if they're going to take your medical license, if you show them, if you acknowledge that you've got a problem and you are on the road to resolving it, they begin to take it easy on you. They're not asking you. They're not getting blood from a stone. They can't get money from you that you don't have. But if you endeavor on resolving the problem, they respect that.
Absolutely, Brian. In fact, they do it to get your attention. And what we find much, much too often is that people wait until their bank accounts are levied or their paychecks are garnished to take any action. And although we can help in situations like that, boy, it's sure a heck of a lot easier if we have some advance notice so we can do some pre-planning and avoid the paycheck garnishment or the bank levy, or worse, if you're in business, what we call a third-party levy. We could talk about that on a later show.
Sure.
But Brian, thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And that last point, I want to underscore that because it's an important point. And Jim Felton, about a month ago here on the show from Greenberg and Bass, you made the point. It was a medical analogy. Who wants to get diagnosed at stage 4? You want to deal with these issues before they've consumed you.
If you're physically sick, you see a doctor. If you've got financial sickness, go see a bankruptcy specialist and we can help.
Jim Felton from Greenberg and Bass, thank you as always.
Thanks,
Peter
Brian.
Stephan from the Tax Resolution Institute, taxresolutioninstitute.com, taxresolutioninstitute.com. Call them at 800-658-7590. As always, thanks for spending your Sunday afternoon with me, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
And
Thank
thanks
you.
for joining us on The Tax Show.